everybody, it's Elena and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and also share it so that your friends can check it out. Maybe they'll also enjoy it. And don't forget to click the bell icon on the screen so that you're always notified every time I upload. I am trying to be more consistent. I apologize. It's been like 2 weeks since my last video, so I am going to... Maybe I need to pre-record because I'm so busy that it's really hard for me to film often. So anyways, that's not what you're here for. You're here for this review. So we are going to be doing like a first impressions review type video on the Fenty Snap Shadows, and I purchased 2 of them. I have 6 and 3. I do plan on purchasing all of them, so I'm just buying 2 at a time because they're $25 each, or if you purchase 2 then it's 2 for $45. And then they also have Afterpay, so if you're in a little crunch with money and you want to be able to get these, then Afterpay is also an option. So I'm gonna open these, I'm gonna show you how they look. I have a bare face right now, so I'm good to go and ready to review these. So I am gonna do 2 looks, one using 3 and one using 6, so that you can see what kind of looks you can create with these and all that jazz. So this is the package that it comes in. And then it has the shades at the top. It has this little slip thing that opens up like that, and then there it is right there. Look how tiny. Oh my gosh. It's so cute. This is even nicer in person. I've watched a lot of videos on these just because I wanted to see videos before I went through with purchasing it. I apologize about my hair. I just realized how crazy I actually look. This is my natural hair with like no product in it, and you know, it looks like a mess. I apologize. But this is it up close. It's so pretty. I don't even know if it does it justice, but... And then on the back it shows you the shades and their name. Here are the shades, so super pretty. Super pretty. Like, these are gorgeous. I can already tell you my first impressions are that I love it. At least the packaging and the shades. Here's the color story. So it's really pretty. This shade right here, which is called Second Date, is really pretty. Looking at this palette now, I don't know if I can, I mean, of course I can probably create a look just using this palette, but I feel like this is a good second palette. Like, I could do these 2 together and get a good look out of it, but like this one by itself, it would be a really dark look. Like, they look exactly the same, especially on camera. Now that I put one of my ring lights closer, you can see. But this would be a good inner corner highlight. This is like a good all over the lid, and then to deepen it up and dark, you know, like we can do something with this. I do like that it has a mirror, so when you're on the go, you can easily, you know, see yourself. And then they're called Snap because they click together like this. And then you have one on one side, and then the other one on the other side, which I think is so cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and prime my eyes and everything, and I will come right back and then we can start with the looks. Okay, so now my eyes are primed. I used the Juvia's Place concealer in the shade 19 to prime my eyes, starting with palette number 3, and I'm going to dip into this shade up here, and that's the shade that I'm going to use as like my transition shade. I haven't used Fenty's shadows before, so I am going into this completely new. I guess I should have kind of set my eyes with a transition powder, but it's cool. I did hear that Fenty wasn't good with eyeshadows just because the Moroccan Spice, I guess, had really bad reviews. That's one of the palettes that I really wanted to like get from her. I just haven't gotten around to doing it, but since there's so many bad reviews, I don't really know if I'm gonna go through with it now. So the shade does lay down pretty nice, and there's only a little bit of kick up in the pan, not too bad. And I'm using a Morphe M441 brush in case you're curious on what brush I'm using. Okay, it doesn't look bad. I actually really like this shade. I'm just packing it on and blending it out. a little patchy over here, but it could be my brush. Because everywhere else, the shade laid just fine. I'm going to do the other eye and then we are going to move on. Okay, so now that they're pretty much both the same, we're going to move on. Now I want to take another shade. I'm trying to use as many shades as I possibly can for this, just to make sure that all of the shades are consistent with like formula wise. So I'm going to go in with this deep brown shade right here, and I'm going to just put it on my outer corner just to kind of like deepen it up. So I'm going to take this Morphe 506 and we're going to do that. Still the same as far as like the kickback, not too much, so that's good. I personally don't really care too much about kick up or kickback, however you want to call it. Like, it doesn't really bother me as long as it's not like a crazy amount to where it's just getting all over the place and I'm not experiencing that. I like to tap on my shadows, not swirl. If you swirl, you'll get a lot more kickback in the pan than you should be getting. Even if you can have like the best shadows in the world, and if you swirl it, you will get kick up. I'm just packing it, and then I am going to use a different brush to blend it because this brush is not good for that. I'm going to use the 441 to blend it out. Okay, that shade is not going anywhere. Like, I don't know if you guys can even tell, but that shade pretty much just stuck there and it's not blending out. So I'm adding more of the first color that we used to try to diffuse that, because it's not budging like at all. I feel like the first shade was way easy to blend. It went where I needed it to go, and then it even kind of blends away if you continue to blend it, but this shade I'm just having trouble with. It doesn't look too bad, so I'm gonna do the same thing on the other eye, and then I'm gonna come back and we'll choose one of the shimmers. We have two here, so we'll choose one of those to go all over the lid, and then we'll be done with the first look. Alright, so now that we have both eyes looking about the same, or at least the same, I think the look doesn't look bad as of right now. It doesn't look bad. My only issue was that dark brown shade. It stuck wherever I put it, and it was just really hard to blend. But once I put more of the lighter shade together with it, I was able to get it to look semi-decent. So now we're going to pick one of the shimmer shades, and then we're going to put that all over our lid and see how the shimmer shades perform. So I'm really excited for that because they look gorgeous. Please don't disappoint me. And of course my battery would be dying now. So we have these two shimmers to choose from. This one looks a lot more sparkly than that one, and I kind of really want to use this one. So we're going to go in with that one right there. That's like, I love rose golds, and it's basically rose gold. Rose golds just speak to me. That picked up a lot of product, so far, and I did like 1, 2, 3, and that's how much I got. So far, it looks good. Oh, okay. When it comes to shimmers, since this is how I always do my eye looks, I always put a shimmer on all over my lid. I have really high expectations for shimmers because I like them to be like, I like them to pop, basically. I like them to be noticeable. If I'm going to go all out for my eyeshadow, I want it to be noticeable. And so far we're getting that. I really like this shade. I wish it was a little bit more sparkly, but if I would have cut my crease, it would have shown up the way that I want it to. Of course, I feel like I have this shade in other palettes. Like, I think in the Jaclyn Hill palette there's a shade that looks similar to this one. I think Juvia's Place has a shade that's shimmer similar to this one, but I haven't tried Fenty's eyeshadows before, and I really wanted to take advantage of it, especially with these little tiny ones. When I go places, I can bring these, you know. Just makes life so much easier than bringing a gigantic palette or having to modify my space to fit a gigantic palette. I could just take these little ones. Not bad. Somebody really wants my attention, but I am busy right now. Okay, you know, I do wish that I would have used shadow shields just because it would have looked a lot cleaner. I'm going to quickly off camera do my full face, and I'll just link everything down below that I use on my face in case you're curious. For the sake of time in this video, I'm not going to do my full face on camera, but if you would prefer that I do, then let me know and I'll make sure that I always do my full face on camera. Even if I have to speed it up, I can speed it up if you want to see it. But yeah, I'll be right back. Alright guys, so now that my full face is on and complete, we are going to move on to doing the tight line. And to do that, we are just going to use the same shades that we basically used to transition. So I'm going to use this shade and we're going to see how that looks. And if I need to add the deeper shade, then I will. I'm going to use the M152, which is like this flat, fluffy type brush. Let's see. Alright. I always find that packing and then blending just works better for me, because I can put the product where I want it and then blend it, and that usually just works. I'm sorry about the lighting. My camera likes to be weird when something else enters the frame, then it like switches the lighting. I don't know how to fix that in my settings, but sorry about that. Alright, we're gonna go with that. I'm not even gonna add that darker shade because I might screw it up. Alright, well there you have it. Okay, so we did not do an inner corner highlight, and I didn't highlight my brow bone. In this palette, we don't really have a shade to do that with because, you know, they're all dark shimmer shades. Well, the two that we do have in here. So I'm just gonna have to use something else. So I'm just gonna use what I used to highlight, which was the Jeffree Star Cosmetics Brain Freeze Frozen Fruit shade, is the pink shade. It's freaking gorgeous, I tell you, like, it's... If you want a blinding highlight palette, this is the one to go for because every single shade in here is blinding. Oop, that was a lot. And it picks up a lot on your brush, so be careful. But I personally like, you know, blinding highlights, so for me it just doesn't bother me, but if that's not your style, then I would not recommend. So I'm going to use Frozen Fruit as the inner corner also, so it just goes with the look. See, look at that. Insane pigment. And this is just a Morphe pencil brush. It's the M431. Alright, good enough. Now let's move on. We did everything. I have all my face done. Oh, except for mascara, but I'm not going to add mascara because I am going to go into the next palette to do the next look. So since I have to remove this just to do that, I'm not going to make my life harder by adding mascara to that. So now let's go into my final thoughts. Final thoughts? Okay. I love the packaging. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. I love how tiny it is. I do love the snap thing, majigger, whatever. I like that idea. I think that it's a cool idea, the snap, because you can just take two palettes with you and bam, you can create multiple looks with one or the other one, or with both, depending on which ones that you choose. And I do feel like, I mean, the price is kind of high, but I mean, for Fenty, it's on brand, so I guess the price is kind of reasonable for, I mean, what you're getting. Now, as for the shades, so this shade worked well, really well, actually. I had no problems blending it out. As we know, the darker shade, I did have a little trouble blending that one out. If I would have cut my crease, it probably would have showed up even brighter, but that's fine. I'm still okay with how it looks. This is like a look that I would wear to work and I would be okay with. I mean, I could wear anything, any colorful look to work and I'd be okay with it, but if you like nudes or you have like a very professional job, I would recommend this palette because of how neutral it is. You can create some really good looks in here. So I have heard on some reviews that I watched that some of them are not consistent with the formula, so I'm unsure as to why that is, but I can definitely see that because with the dark brown shade, it was like it just stuck there and I couldn't blend it out. I had to add more of this shade up here to blend it out, but I mean, it's workable. You can work with it. So now we're just going to move on to the number 6 palette. If you want to see more looks using the number 3, just let me know. Now let's move on to the next palette. I'm so sorry for blabbing a lot, and I will see you later. Alright, so now we're gonna do the second look using palette number 6. So I am going to dip into palette number 3. I was gonna try to keep it just 6, but due to the color story that we have here, we don't really have a transition shade, and I don't want to have like a super dark, like grunge gothic look, so I'm gonna have to dip into number 3. So I apologize about that because I was trying to keep it just one palette, one look, but I do need to use this shade right here to give me an initial shade to go off of, basically. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm dipping into the number 3 shade, this one up here, and I'm going to just put it all over my lid here. So this shade is super pigmented. It goes on and it blends really well. This shade has to be one of my favorites because it's easy to work with. I did play with this palette. I tried recording a look with number 6 just by itself, and it didn't come out good at all. Like, it looked horrible, and the dark brown shade that I'm going to show you just didn't blend well at all. I don't know what it is about the really dark shades. They just don't blend well. I didn't mean to take that up so high up there, but I can fix it. I can see where some people are saying that these shades are kind of inconsistent, but I don't want to speak too soon. I want to try more palettes before I say anything, so. But I can definitely tell you that you do have to work with the darker shades in here, just because they're just giving me a little issue. Once you put them down, they kind of stick there and don't go anywhere. Now we are going to go into the number 6 palette. And what I was saying is that these two shades here are like basically similar, and I used this one up here and it stuck there and didn't move anywhere. So I'm going to try to use that to like darken up our outer V and then see if that helps. Okay, super pigmented. Was a lot more. I put a lot more down than I wanted, but this is what I mean. Like, once you put this shade down, it's hard to blend it out, but we're gonna see if we can work with it. I'm using a Morphe M506 to kind of try to blend this out. It's blending out, it's just kind of harsh. And it does take a little bit of work. That's why I couldn't do just the number 6 palette by itself. I needed this lighter shade to help blend out this dark shade because it wasn't going anywhere by itself, unfortunately. Alright, so now I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye. Okay, so now we have them kind of looking similar, and if you can kind of see that we got like some patchiness here and a little bit over here too. It's just once you put that deep shade down, it just stays there, and it's kind of hard to get it, you know, to blend out. So I'm trying to put that dark shade there to kind of, you know, I don't know, make it look better because it just looks bad. So now that we have both eyes kind of looking similar, I was having a lot of trouble getting it to blend out because that dark shade just wanted to stay where it was. It didn't want to go anywhere. So now we're just going to pick a shimmer, and then we are going to do our lower lash line. I'm going to pick a lip, and then we will go into my final thoughts. So I really want to use this sparkly shade here, which I've already used it, so I know that it performs really well when it's wet. So I am going to show you guys that. beautiful, I can tell you that much. Alright, so there's that. Now we just need to do our lower lash line, which I'm going to dip into the number 3 palette to do my lower lash line because there's not a shade in the number 6 that I want to use. My inner corner though, I'll go ahead and do, and I'm going to choose that from number 6, and I'm going to choose this shade right here. This is the M431. Alright, it's there. Not as pigmented, but it's there. Let's see if it'll do it wet. Sometimes shimmers work better with your finger or wet, so yeah, that's better. Okay, so I'm going to assume that all of these shimmers work better when they're wet. Alright, so now we're going to dip into the number 3 palette, and we are going to take this shade right here to Tightline. Alright everybody, so here's the final look. It doesn't look that bad, but it also doesn't look that great. I mean, would I go out with this look on? Yes, but I would try to redo it just because the dark shades, it kind of looks horrible over here because it was really hard to just blend out that dark shade in there. But nonetheless, the whole thing does look good at a distance, but as I'm looking at it over here, it just looks so bad. Just looks so bad, and it's because of that dark shade that's stuck there and I just couldn't blend it out. So adding more of that transition shade in the number 3 palette and then going back and forth to the dark shade to help kind of like blend it out. It was a lot of work, but in the end it did all come together. I think that it still looks good. I really love the shimmer shade that we used on the lid, so that's a plus. So now as like my full thoughts, first impressions, all of that, I do want to say, like I said, I love the whole idea of the Snap Shadows. This was really convenient, being able to go to one palette and then go to the next palette in the same like movement. I liked that because when you're on the go, sometimes you don't have time to like switch between palettes, or maybe you don't want to carry a whole bunch of palettes. That's a really cool idea, so I do like that. Some of the shadows you have to work with, that's okay. Some people don't mind that. Some people want easy shadows, so that's why I'm telling you that you do have to work with some of them. As you can see in my situation, I had to work with it, so keep that in mind if you're wanting to try these. I do recommend that you try them because sometimes everything works different for other people. But that being said, I do think that these are really cool, and I do plan on purchasing more because maybe the other shades won't be as tough to deal with, and since I haven't used all of them, I can't really speak for all of the shades in the number 6 palette or in the number 3 palette because I didn't use all of the shades in the number 3 palette. I really want to use these two right here, and I want to use the other shimmer to see how that one looks. But I do prefer the look that I made with the number 3 palette. But let me know which look you liked more, if you liked this one or the one that I came up with for the number 3 palette. And let me know if you've tried these or if you plan on trying them, if you've picked them up, and what are your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time with another one. Bye!